The honourable member for Nanaimo Ladysmith.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thanks to my colleague and friend from Status of Women Committee. In the 2012 budget, in an omnibus budget bill, the Conservatives deeply undermined and weakened the role of the National Energy Board. I understand that it was with the hope that it might facilitate pipeline approvals, but in fact it led, in our experience, I was able to participate from my home on Gabriola Island, where we were concerned about pipeline impacts. In the Northern Gateway review, people came to a hearing, they could give their testimony, they could hear each other. When it came to the Kinder Morgan review process, this is now after the National Energy Board review had been significantly altered by the Harper amendments, there was no cross-examination of evidence. Anybody that had advice for the National Energy Board could only file it in a written form. It was called a public hearing, but there was actually no hearing. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency tried to intervene, was barred as an intervener. The National Energy Board ruled that late-breaking evidence that bitumen sinks in the marine environment was barred from the hearing, from the process, based on it being prejudicial to Kinder Morgan. And then, of course, now we've got all these court cases charging that the process was inadequate. So I'd like to know my colleague's view about looking back on it, whether the Conservative amendments to the National Energy Board process, gutting it effectively, might have contributed to these delays.
Member for Calgary-Midnapore.
Madam Speaker, I would argue that it is this Liberal government that has rendered the National Energy Board not obsolete, but certainly taken away their power, almost impotent, I would say. And that is from doing everything to changing the board composition, but more importantly, creating the barriers for project approval, everything from gender considerations to unreasonable, simply considerations which cannot be met. It is this Liberal government which has done the damage to the National Energy Board, and not our historic Conservative government. In fact, they have rendered it to the point, in addition to the ministerial veto, that perhaps no project may ever be built again, and that is significant. It was not our actions as the former Conservative government, it is the actions of this Liberal government that has weakened and decreased the powers of the National Energy Board, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much.